Hi, Fascia family. Tamara Renee. Tamara Renee. Okay, today we are going to blast from our hips to our knees. And I will post one of my pictures that shows my changes in that area. So that's been a really nice one for me because I was able to make a lot of changes in those areas. And I had such stiff hips. And I have been able to free those up immensely and keep my knees from ever causing me problems from after being a long distance runner and a triathlete. And anyhow, I will tell you that the most important thing that I hope you get from today is to work your joints and your biomechanics. The number one thing that we can learn is the more that we are biomechanically sound with our feet, it helps from there on up in our whole body. And the more consistent that we are at being good in our biomechanics, then our soft tissue system, our fascia, doesn't have to go like this every second, hanging on and start creating knots and adhesions and binding down. And in order to stabilize our joints, that's what it's always trying to do, is create stabilization. That's if you haven't had some kind of accident, emotional trauma, or something else that's got that stuff stuck in there. But I'm talking about everyday use, and that those biomechanics are essential for your well-being. Okay, so today, big ones. What is always happens with women's hip replacements, then knee replacements, right? So let's go ahead, get out your fascia tools. I'm hoping I've got my bed, I got a bigger bed, so now my filming area has gotten smaller, and it makes it so picklish for me. Okay, let's just see if I can do this. Well, that looks like it might work. That looks like it might work. Okay, so oil, I use the roller whenever I'm traveling around or over my man's house, but I just took blaster oil and put it in a saucer for me. It's faster for me, and otherwise I do like the roller one. I don't really like any kind of spray bottles or anything. I used to use my thumbs on because I feel like I use my thumbs a lot in my medical bodyworks practice here in San Diego. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the hip, and then that we want it to actually track in and out. It's a rotating hip joint, right? So it's got to go outwards, it's got to go inwards, it's got to go backwards, it's got to go forward. And so really trying to spend some decent time up around that hip is what I highly suggest. Now, we've got the soft tissue in here where we've got our lymphatic at. I'm not opposed to going over that, but just go light. You know, your whole body only needs light anyhow. You don't need to blast the heck out of it. But do you have the brush and blast set? Do you happen to have this? If you do, I'm just taking one of the inserts out, and I like the nubby side, and I'm using that just to kind of wake up my skin and get my lymphatic system flowing. I'm kind of a fan of these. I love working lymphatic system. If we can kind of get the whole system pumping better than if we're releasing debris in our body during our blasting, it'll just pick it right on up and have carried out. That's its job. So we want to invigorate it a little bit more. So you see I've got a little red mark here. That's not from blasting yet. I just have my moist heating pad because I didn't have time to heat. Okay, so now more oil. Take this out of the way. I'm going to get this to be an oily mess. And what do we always know? To warm up our tissue first, we start with our superficial, which is the outside closest to the surface tissue. We can use any of the small two tools. Pro Blaster, I like this because it distributes the weight, not only for my hand, but on my body. The Face Blaster is probably our number one, Ashley's number one seller. We've got the mini paddle. I've got on my master here. I mean, even with the brush and blast. And so I just say get your biggest tool because we're really just trying to warm up the area. And you see how I'm pulling in my abs, right? To secure my body as I'm leaning over. And then I'm leaning back and going forward. I am on a little stool. The stool I got from Amazon. It's one of, I use it for 1,000 things around my house. 1,000 things. Okay, so you just want to move fast and get the bulk of the area warm. And so if I move like this, am I going to get it warm? Probably not. That's why we like to move fast. And I'm going all the way down to that knee joint. You can't see here. Okay. Remember to pull in your abs. Okay, so I have got the front part of my leg warm. I'm going to take my Pro Blaster and I'm going to do some more detail work of making it warm over the bone area. A little more oil. Remember, we don't want to drag the skin. So just get more oil when you need. So you hear that sound? That's it going over my bone. It is not painful. I'm not pushing hard. It feels good. Feels great, as a matter of fact. And I can feel a little gravel right here. So if I was not doing a tutorial or guiding you guys along, I'd be spending a little bit more time here going, come on, little gravel, go on out of there, right? But you want to try to think about, does this feel sticky? Is this moving freely? Is that, do I've got a big round spot here that's sticking to this bone? If so, it's probably not allowing much movement around that, right? But, and then over the soft tissue, just go lightly. You don't need to dig, you don't need to push, you just go light. And then come behind that bone. And I like to take my teeth and dig it in like this at an angle, right behind my hip bone. I just go up and down, up and down. So I'm just trying to warm up that superficial tissue around my joints now. I did the bulk, the body of the muscle. Now I'm doing the joints. So just take your tool, your small tool. Oh, it feels good. And I'm just scrubbing, just scrubbing. Now remember, I'm keeping a pace up. I'm not going like this, right? Keep a pace up. When I actually first started fascia blasting, I decided I was going to use it for some exercise. And that helped me. So I took off some of my other hours I was doing per week exercising, and I turned that exercising into fascia blasting. And so I thought it was great because I already had time aside for exercise, and I knew then I could keep it up as a lifestyle. So our knees are so temperamental. Our hips are a little bit more forgiving, but our knees are not. So I like to come all the way around these bones. You see, I'm just not like, okay, on the sides, on the soft tissue. I'm like, oh, I'm like under the patella. I am like on top of these knee bones, going cross fiber to them, kind of like a little diamond around my knee. And I do this, gosh, you guys, maybe every day. Maybe every day. But, you know, come on, coming on 60. I'll be 60 here in a couple of weeks. I want to keep these knees healthy forever. When I was at the academy, Ashley did one thing to my leg and just this knee was like, Ashley Black. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I need to go home and do some more work on that, as well as working on my biomechanics. So now I'm just kind of scrubbing down the front part of my knee. But there is not a spot I do not do. Now, you know, we've got these typical tendons and ligaments that come through here. They can get really sticky. I see that on so many of my clients, right? So you want to try to feel like you're kind of combing them, straightening, getting in between there. Then you've got this little muscle piece that comes down And you've got a recessed spot where your calf muscle begins. So I like to go underneath that and cross fiber up to that and up to my knee. So once again, I go down to that and cross fiber up to my knee. Okay? And you just kind of get in this little rhythm. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make sure that we've got the inside of our leg and that we are, see where they see little striations? You'll see little parts. It's supposed to separate off a little more than the others. So it's muscles, and the belly of the muscle wants to separate off from other muscles that run parallel with it. So go ahead and just warm up that area really well. And when you do, come all the way up, all the way up. I am just going back and forth, back and forth. Okay, now on the outside, we've got our IT band. So it's supposed to be a little bit more consistent of fascia through here. So we've got sporadic, and then it comes here and it gets more linear. So it's like this. And so that provides us more stability through here. But it gets very sticky on the top side and the bottom side, and then starts bulking up here for many people and stopping the mobility of our knees and pulling our hips up, our knees up. And a lot of times the doctors think they want to work on the knees because the IT band is pulling up on it. Well, really, they just need to work the fascia from the whole body probably, but really thinking of that hip line and bringing it down. So I like to kind of go back and forth. You see, I'm putting pressure with my other hand on the small tooth tool still, and I'm just trying to find little spots where I might feel gravel or a really stuck area or a really bound feeling area, meaning like it's just not moving, or gosh, super hypersensitive, which means I'm going to really do it lighter but longer in that area. Now, if I find lack of sensation, that means it's been dead. The nerves have been cut off from sensation for so long that the body has come to your rescue. And that's good. That's just this way of doing what it's supposed to do. But now you need to keep working it until it can get those sensories going again and some more life and nourishment through those areas. So just coming up, back and forth, and I'm kind of going on the bottom, on the top of the IT band, and I'm trying to visualize in my mind and feel for the spots as I'm going over, where I'm kind of trying to peel things off things, have them run separately, if that makes sense. I hope that does. Then let's go ahead and take a longer tooth tool. I'm going to go ahead and use my Fascia Blaster, and I'm going to go right up to my hip joint, pulling my stomach in, leaning back, but look how much more red this is than this leg, and I'm not even heated, just healthy tissue. So I'm just going to do a little scrubbing motion right at the outside of that hip. Okay, not in the inner groin, right on the outside of that hip. And then I'm going to take that scrubbing motion, and I am going to do that motion all the way down to the outside of the knee. Come back up, and I'm going to do that same kind of scrub, 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 scrub all around the hip bone, trying to find those little nuggets that are gravelly or sensitive. And then I'm going to go down to the knee. Longer strokes. I tend to do little tiny strokes as I'm trying to fish for things and gather information. And then I'll do longer strokes as I've gained confidence that the tissue is ready for me, and that I kind of know what's where to focus and what needs more attention. Then I'm going to do that on the inside. I'm going to do the little scrubbing, a little scrubbing, take it down. And then scrub. And then back and forth. I didn't feel anything on this side. It's good. Okay, now let's take in and make some pretty knees. So take your long tooth tool at a diagonal inside the knee line. And you see I'm not even pushing hardly any pressure. Here I'm hanging on for stability, of course. And here, just put in a little pressure on there, hardly any. And going on the outside of that knee. I always say I'm making Kardashian knees. Then the other side. Love that. Now, I like to go back in on this inner thigh line, and anywhere that I see that a muscle recesses in between another muscle, I stay there a little bit longer, just trying that one line, trying to give me a shape. Like here, I would do it right here. You see that line? Right? That's a muscle from a bone. So I would just spend a little bit more time there. And that's what I'm doing on my inner thigh. Right? So I'm doing it right here on this line. Right here on this line. Okay? Then I like the idea of how Naomi Campbell's legs were bigger at the top and smaller at the bottom. So I found some gravel up here. So I know that I won't be able to access the right muscle development or make the right muscle development in my quads if I do not get my hips healthy. So I know that I want to make sure I'm going back over those hip areas and then coming down and then maybe spending a little bit more time around the knee, making them smaller because I want this muscle to be bigger. But I do know that in order for me to actually gain growth and get full muscle development in this quad at the gym, that I need to actually get this hip a little healthier. Okay, then we've got big tooth tool. So I'm going to use my party blaster. Party time. Okay. And I'm going to just go the full length on the inside. And I'm going to go back to the outside top, or I'm sorry, just the center top. Lean back, get close to my hip bone. On the outside. Now, remember how I told you I kind of do scrubbing, a little scrubbing, and then I do the full thing? That's typically, I do that more with the small tooth tool because that's when I'm starting to warm up my tissue and understand where the problems are. Now, I feel a little spot up here. So I'm going to do that little scrubbing motion right up here. So I'm just taking one of these teeth and going in because I feel a little gravelly right here. I'm like, okay, pay attention. We'll take care of it. And then the full length. Then on each side, just for aesthetics. But remember, every time we work aesthetics, we get healthier bodies. With this technology, we are lucky for that. Then I'm going to take the mini two. It's also a big tooth tool, right? Because I'm deeper tissue. And I'm going to go around all those little nuances on the knee. I guess, with these tendons and everything here, they're very sensitive for most people. So, if you just need to stay with a small tooth for a while, then do that. But remember, do cross fiber to them and then with fiber, then cross fiber and then with fiber. Okay. Then progress to a deeper tooth tool through these areas when you've gotten healthier tissue. Okay, so now I like to take the nugget ends. There is a pointy one and a dull one. I rarely use the dull one. And it's just a personal thing. I mean, even when I'm on my toes, tops of my feet, I use the pointy one. So I'm going to go back and use the pointy one. And I'm going to go back to that hip that was bothering me. But I would say everyone should do this right behind their hip bone always. Just do little poke, wiggle, wiggles. Poke, wiggle, wiggle. Poke, wiggle, wiggle. Now, if you've got a fatty chunk up here, then I would also do that in the area, not in the soft tissue area, not in the groin area, okay? Just on that meaty, hard piece, okay? Now, if you feel like your IT bands are stuck and sticking, and so that every time you go over it, it moves this one big piece, just do a little crayoning on the top side of the IT band. And then try some crayoning on the bottom side. I'm going to do a little crayoning right behind that bone, that hip bone. Remember, I always try to stay very joint focused. I have felt that that has made the biggest changes in my body, working on my biomechanics and focusing on keeping my mobility in my joints. It has helped with the cellulite on the back of my legs and everything else. Okay, so we've done the hip to the knee on the front side. So now, let me create a little space for myself here because I think I still need to stay back here for you. I wonder, do I go like this? And let me see this. Yeah, maybe this will be best. Okay, so now I want you to oil up the back part of your leg. And now I am sitting here with this opposite cheek, not this cheek, the opposite cheek. I am squeezing that cheek as I'm holding in my stomach. Now, if this is too much for you, you just lay on your back and do it this way. I like to do it this way because it actually makes me contract more muscles, which gives me a better workout. And when I'm doing my blasting most of the time, that's what I'm looking for, is a better workout. Because I use mine for a lot of workout. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a small tooth tool. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's kind of roughen up our lymphatic system. So I'm just taking a little scrubber, It could be a little washcloth or anything else. A little damp rag, a little skin brush. I've just kind of fallen in love with Ashley's Invigorators. I think they do invigorate the skin so much. Okay, a little more oil, long tooth or short tooth tool, any of them you would like. And I'm going to start at right at the crease, my butt crease, my butt and my hamstrings. And I'm just going to go back and forth in that little scratching motions, kind of trying to feel anything. So I tend to do this like investigation, I guess, in the beginning. And this is how I do it when I'm working on my clients too, so I can really start to feel things before I start treating too much. Then I kind of know where to really focus my attention at, where to check in with them at. You know, is this too painful? What are the sensations that you're feeling here? And so on. Also, because we tend to store a lot of emotions. Oh, and where's it like to store? Right in our fascia. So we want to make sure that my client feels safe, right? Protective, safe. So I always try to do my little investigation. So literally, I'm just taking from that glute hammy tie-in, And I'm doing my little scratchy motion on the inside all the way down to the knee. And I'm coming back up and I'm doing right in the belly of the hamstring and down to the back of the knee. And I am getting to the back of the knee. Then on the outside and down to the back of the knee. And then I kind of go the whole distance. And I like to lean forward a little. I feel like I get the top part of my hamstring on the inside where I wasn't getting before when I was laying down. But this is harder. So if this is too hard for you, then lay down. It's up for you to judge what is right for you. Okay. Now, we've done all of that type of work, right? So let's get a small tooth tool, but a small tool. That way we can come behind the knees, insides and outside, and we could really get an idea of, is there any sensitivity on these? And make sure we're going through those joints. Okay. Then what do we need? Big tooth tool. Any place that's sensitive to you, what do? Stay there. Blast there longer. You just go lighter. Just blast there longer, but go lighter. So I'm on my inner thigh at a diagonal. And I'm going from the inner top to the bottom. Middle belly to the bottom. Middle belly to the bottom. And outside to the bottom. Outside to the bottom. Okay, and I'm always kind of thinking as I'm getting warmer, peeling things off each other. Now, I'm going to go back up to that glute hammy tie-in. See how this is even? I'm going to put it on the inside. And I'm going to do it on the inside corner, back and forth. This is where I have like looser skin issues. And I like to kind of get them at all angles. Trying to really work on that. Getting that glute hammy tie-in. This is also, people get the banana roll. A lot of people have a little sponge of fat on this area. Okay, so we worked on making sure that you investigate the area, right? Let's pull this back up. That you investigate the area before you go in and just blast, blast, blast. You know, you're listening to your body. You're learning to have a relationship with your body. Then we always go in with the small tooth tool. And then I always like to work on the belly and then work at the details of the joints, right? And I'm always focusing on my most attention that I'm giving my body on the joints health, okay? And so then you could turn around, you can do that to that other leg. We are done for the guide today, but I want to talk to you guys about you know, we have to think about all the stuff that we're putting in our bodies and whether it's healthy or not. And, you know, I don't know if you guys use her after blasting cream, but Ashley's after blasting cream is my cream. It is my daily cream. It's not like, oh, it's my after blasting cream. Oh, no, this is my daily cream, like my body lotion. It has got algae, it's got anti-inflammatories, it's got fat burners. I don't need a fat burner. That is not my issue. And the smell is so good. But I use it every day, all over my body, as my body lotion. And it's especially good if you are going to open up all those pores and everything else, nourish it with those good nutrients. Now, summertime. If it was summertime, I would put the oil serum, the first firm skin firming serum. I would take that, and I felt on my thighs, I used a decent amount. When I use it on my neck, I hardly use any. Or my face, more than my neck. But my thigh, I felt like I used more. So I just put it on the top of my thigh. And if I had a skirt, a short, or any of those that area exposed for because of my wardrobe, and I would put that on, and I'm telling you, your skin doesn't look dry. It doesn't look like some of the other body firming things says, where your skin doesn't look gets crackly, doesn't look natural or normal. It actually looks nourished and healthy. So, think about it. Water, good food, take care of your bodies, stretch, keep your biomechanics up, keep working on your stands. I'm telling you, I work on my standing every single day. And it's not easy. It is not easy. But now take the time, do that other leg, balance out your body, and really start listening, because you won't listen to me chatter up a storm. Listen to your body. Listen to what it's telling you. Where is it sore? Where do you need more love? Give it more love. Just be gentle with yourself, okay? And don't worry about wrong, right? I mean, just no circles, but I don't think anyone does circles anymore. Those days are all behind us. We all know better. It's that information's been out so much. Just remember, you don't have to be so intense. Be loving to yourself. If you can do anything, just commit to some consistency. Okay? Tamara here, San Diego, professional, certified by Ashley, devotee of the method and the fact that we can bring this home to you. You don't have to be on my treatment table to win in this game. You just can do it from your home. Okay? Love you. Have a great, have a great day, but also have a great life.